This is a good question, and it's unique. So I like unique questions. And I know it's from the summer, but it's going to be applicable to many parents. It would be applicable to you because, if you feel like your child's been denied a FAPE, that applies during extended school year services as well. And so let's get to the very simple question. I appreciate that it's short and concise. I love that. Doesn't mean my answer necessarily is short and concise. I'm trying to work on that. Can the school limit ESY to only Monday through Thursday? We currently have our son in a camp, which helps with social interactions, and they meet Monday through Thursday. The school is refusing to meet on Fridays. Now, I can tell you that extended school year services, even though there's still a FAPE requirement, the FAPE requirement's attached to, whether it's appropriate, and understand that extended school year services are there for one purpose really, and that is to ensure that your child is not regressing. It's not necessarily built in for progression. There's a sort of a differentiation between the two. It doesn't have to be that way, but historically and traditionally, that's sort of how ESY is interpreted as far as an option for consideration of entitlement to involvement in extended school year services. So when an IEP team closer to the end of the school year looks at the data, they're supposed to look at the data during long breaks to determine whether or not your child can recoup and maintain skills traditionally lost over the summer. And you sit there and you go, well, why? That's only one fashion of review, guys. The IEP team can look at multiple factors of consideration for your child's involvement or entitlement to extended school year. But that is the one that is traditionally used by the majority of schools across the country, is that analysis of recoupment, loss of skills. And the reason they do it that way is that most schools are off during the summer, which means that the first 9 weeks, or some of the weeks within the first 9 weeks, are spent reviewing the prior school year's grade level. Wherever that child was the prior school year, they do a review in the first few weeks. There is a acknowledgement across the board for general education kids that don't have a disability and don't have an IEP, that there is going to be a loss of information. So because there's a loss of information for all students, then it's equal to assume that there's going to be a natural loss of information from our kids that are identified as needing an IEP. All right, so we're treating everybody equal. There's no inequality here. So there's an acknowledgement that there's a loss of information, and all students will get that sort of review at the beginning of the school year. What differentiates a kid with an IEP from those that don't have one is the ones that have been determined by the IEP team that regression, meaning that it will take longer than that, let's say 6 to 9 weeks to recoup those skills. If it's outside of that traditional norm of acknowledgement, then yes, that child requires extended school year services. That's equity, okay? Equality is there's an acknowledgement that all kids have a loss of information. Where the equal access or the equity comes in is an acknowledgement that this child who has an IEP, their recoupment extends past that 9 weeks. So therefore, we need to sit there and maintain those skills, still understanding that there's going to be a little bit of regression, but it's going to fit within that norm or that tradition of recoupment because we staved off a lot more of the regression by having extended school year services over the summer. Does that have to be a 5-day-a-week program? Absolutely not. And most extended school year services are 3 days a week, not even 4. And most of them that I come across typically run 3 hours a day, not a full school day. Why? Because the purpose of extended school year services is maintenance, recoupment, staving off regression. It's not necessarily there for the same purpose as the traditional school year of progression. There's the difference. So therefore, what is necessary for a particular child to stave off that regression, to maintain skills, and it's by and large, not a 5-day-a-week program. Most school systems, in order to save money, are not open on Fridays. In many of the states where I have an office, they're just not open on Fridays. And so that's also a factor. Now, is that appropriate? Yes, I'd have to say in most instances, there's going to be those rare instances that based upon the individualized needs of the child. But like I said, there's a lot of factors that go in there. But by and large, Monday through Thursday, for a few hours a day is appropriate under the standard of extended school year services.